because we're not going to get this undue influence out of our foreign policy unless all Americans are aware of what's going on. It's really, really important. We have no country if a foreign country is able to dictate our foreign policy. All of this begs the question, why did we go to war with Iran? What was the point? What was the purpose? I know that I have my views on this, but why don't we hear from Kent on the influence of neoconservatives and the Israel lobby?
This is what I talk about in the letter about this ecosystem of information that's laundered through a lot of prominent neoconservative types that are very sympathetic to the Israeli cause, and then also Israeli government officials who give us things in semi-official channels. What they did was they created basically a shifting red line or a new red line. So that if the president's red line was Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, we've actually got a lot of trade space in there for a deal to be made, because of what I just described with the Iranian policy. Essentially the Iranians saying, okay, well, we don't want a nuclear weapon. Well, that means we basically are at a point where we can start negotiating and we can come up with a deal. And the president is a fantastic deal maker. So if your goal is to move us away from any kind of deal and your goal is to move us into a conflict, you have to shift that red line. And that's where a lot of this, I would say, what became a de facto US policy of Iran can have no nuclear enrichment. It was laundered through a lot of the different talking heads, Mark Levin, Mark Dubowitz, you've got the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, you name it. Washington, D.C. has plenty of pro-Israeli lobbyists who will come and say those things, who will publish think pieces on it, who will go on the media, who will run op-eds in the Wall Street Journal to talk about this, why they can't have any enrichment whatsoever. And then we have a high degree of engagement with Israeli government officials who will come in and say, well, they're enriching and they could enrich or they could enrich more, and that will get them closer to a nuclear weapon. So then enrichment basically became the new US policy.
Ken is totally right about that. Moving the goalposts certainly was an obvious tactic by the Israelis, Benjamin Netanyahu in particular. And remember, it wasn't just about nuclear weapons. The more Iran was willing to capitulate to the United States and Israel on uranium enrichment, nuclear weapons, all of that, the further Netanyahu was willing to go in his demands. And so then suddenly you start hearing about how Iran is not allowed to have ballistic missiles. What? So if you don't have a military, you don't have weaponry like ballistic missiles, for instance, you don't have a country. As some of the demilitarized countries in that region, I think, know at this point. You have no way of defending yourself. I would never in a million years be a leader of a Middle Eastern country and give up my ballistic missiles knowing that Israel is constantly thinking about who to attack next. Well, not them specifically, but who to get the United States to attack next. The US is less likely to attack a country like Iran the way it has attacked Iran if they already have nuclear weapons. I mean, that's certainly true of countries like North Korea, Pakistan. You catch my drift. So if you take a step back and you think about what this war communicates to the rest of the world, to the globe, it is communicating to them, you need to race to obtaining nuclear weapons. Because at some point, your day will come. So Turkey, for instance, right now is being targeted by, there's chatter in Israel. Naftali Bennett is one of the opposition leaders in Israel, opposition leader to Netanyahu. And people are like, oh, it's really just a Netanyahu problem. No, it's not. No, it's not. Naftali Bennett's the one who's going around on Israeli media talking about how Turkey is a real threat. Are we gonna go to war with Turkey next? A NATO ally? No, look, I'm an Armenian, so I've got no love for the Turkish regime. I don't want to go to war with them. Okay? I don't want to go to war with them. But that day will come if we keep moving forward or devolving with this type of ridiculous Israel first foreign policy. Calling Kent an anti-Semite because he's plainly speaking the truth about what motivates our foreign policy is a scumbag move to engage in. Anti-Semitism means that you loathe, hate, discriminate against Jewish people. Until I see evidence of him doing that, I'm not going to believe for a second he's an anti-Semite. Plus, that word, that smear has been cheapened by the likes of Jake Tapper, who, yes, called Kent an anti-Semite. Now, Kent was part of the denials of the 2020 election results. Obviously, I hate that. I disagree with him vehemently on that. But on this particular issue, what he just did this week was the right thing to do, the moral thing to do, the ethical thing to do. And while the majority of the left wing in America is already privy to the games being played by Israel, the right has been a little bit slower to wake up. And so if you're on the left, I hear you if you're critical of Kent for other reasons, but you have to also acknowledge the benefit, the positive side of someone like him spreading this message that's going to be heard by right-wing America. Because we're not going to get this undue influence out of our foreign policy unless all Americans are aware of what's going on. It's really, really important. We have no country if a foreign country is able to dictate our foreign policy. That's not, again, taking agency away from Donald Trump, but we can't deny the fact that this isn't just a Donald Trump problem either. Every administration, the continuity that we see, this favorability toward Israel at the detriment of the United States is a problem. And we have to finally do something about it. We have to purge these people out of our government because Israel's bleeding us dry, man. And it's got to stop. That's all I got to say about that.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.